So I'm making a video about Kanban using my Kanban.
Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, my name is Yani Datta and I design visual systems in my bullet journal. So in this video, I'm going to show you how I created a Kanban board for managing specific kinds of projects, plus 5 tips and principles on how I elevated the system even further to make it even more effective for me. So a Kanban is basically a lean management tool that helps you visualize and manage the flow of work. So the word Kanban basically means billboard or signboard in Japanese. It's one of the many tools out there that actually follow the lean methodology. So for those of you who haven't heard of lean yet, the lean methodology was derived from Toyota's operating principles in the 1930s in Japan. But now, the many principles of lean have extended beyond manufacturing into construction, management, and even leadership. But however it's applied, or wherever it's applied, the essence of lean is always the same: to reduce and eliminate non-value adding activities, reduce waste, and improve flow. Fun fact, I'm actually exposed to a lot of these lean principles because of my work, but I always like to implement them in my day-to-day life. So one of the ways I apply it is of course through a Kanban board in my bullet journal. So the very basic way to do a Kanban board, here I'm just showing you how I do it in Trello. It's to set up 3 columns. The first is for to-do or tasks that you need to do. Second column is for WIP or work in progress. And then third is done or completed. And then as you move your tasks through completion, you're able to see like the overall progress or status of all of your work. So the key premise here is to limit the amount of work in progress and maintain a smooth flow of work to basically ensure that you eliminate bottlenecks and backlogs. And I find this a very powerful principle in itself, but I have a few more tips on how to add on and improve on this even further. So here are 5 ways to elevate your Kanban board. So in my experience, one of the weaknesses of the most basic form of Kanban is that some of my projects would actually be stuck in work in progress or WIP for so long because it actually takes a lot of time to complete it. And this can be quite frustrating when I've actually done quite a bit of work already and I still cannot move it into that done column. Also, I have no visual way of seeing the percentage progress of each of my tasks. All I could see is whether or not they are done. So, the first thing I did was break down WIP into stages or the broad phases of my process. So, in fact, for this spread, it will only contain work in progress because my to-do and done columns will be housed somewhere else, which I will talk about later. But here's the most important thing. This technique of breaking down your Kanban will really work best for repetitive projects of the same type, or basically recurring projects that you do all the time and basically have the same process or sequence of work. So some examples could be producing videos or writing papers or certain kinds of client projects that pretty much have the same steps. So in my case, this Kanban is for my YouTube video production, in which I typically have 6 stages in this process: design, film, script, audio, edit, and publish. And that is why I broke down my WIP as such. And do note that in an ideal case scenario, this should be the optimized sequence of stages, meaning to say that this is the most logical and effective sequence of work or phases. And that of course comes with experience, but it could also come from learning from others, like more experienced people or even books. So for example, if you have to write a lot of papers for school, this is the recommended sequence of steps to writing top grade papers in the book How to Become a Straight A Student, so you can consider to break down your WIP as such. So the next tip is batching. So batching is another lean concept with the premise that you can actually save time in certain tasks by accumulating those tasks in batches as opposed to doing them immediately as they come in. So obviously a very good example of this is batching your laundry. So we would usually wait until like the end of the week or after a few days to do our laundry because this not only saves us time from trips to the laundromat, but will also save in water, utilities, etc., as compared to doing it every single time we create dirty laundry. So similarly, I realized that if I batch film my videos, I could actually save a lot of time and effort that it would usually take to set up all of my equipment every single time I have to film something. So in my experience, I realized I could actually film up to 3 videos in one go while only doing the setup and takedown only once. So if it takes me like 15 minutes to do the setup every single time I film, I can cut down from 45 minutes of total time spent setting up 3 videos versus 15 minutes for 3 videos. And since I can film 3 videos at a time, that also means I could design and detail out 3 video ideas at the same time, and that will still be okay because I will be filming them all at once anyway. So in terms of the layout of this spread, that is also why these boxes were designed to fit 3 stickers, so it has space to accommodate 3 projects. So the next tip is to set limits. So setting limits is almost like the opposite of the concept of batching. The premise basically states that if there are tasks that you can only do 1 at a time, or let's say 2 at a time, then you should set that limit and only do it 1 at a time. So for example, for all of the rest of these tasks, I will only mostly focus on 1 project at a time because I can only edit 1 video at a time, write 1 script at a time, etc. And if I would do it 2 at a time, I will just be spreading my attention too thin, switching between these 2 projects. So why is it useful to set limits? Because by setting a limit, you can actually make sure that you are focusing on 1 project and moving it towards completion, and this is the key here. So it is basically the difference between like having 1 baked pie and 1 unbaked pie versus having 2 half-baked pies. It is always better to have 1 pie completely done and ready to eat, and then while you eat that, you can bake the other one, and then you'll have a steady flow of pie production. Sorry, I'm thinking too much about pies. I think I'm gonna order a slice of pie later. But anyway, in terms of my spread design, you will notice that these boxes are designed to fit exactly 1 sticker, so I am forced to limit myself to only 1 project for these tasks. So the third principle and concept is called standardized work. So this basically means that by having a standardized workflow for any process or project, this will ultimately save you time from having to think or remember what the next step was, or to work in an inefficient way, because you already have a standardized and most importantly optimized workflow. So in my case, when I first started making videos, I was completely new to the process, so I didn't have a proper workflow. It was pretty much ad hoc, and I would be jumping from one step to the previous step and then having to redo or reworking a lot of the things. But the more experience I gained, however, I eventually found the optimal sequence of steps that saves me the most time and helped prevent a lot of the rework that I previously faced. So in my standardized workflow for video editing, for example, I realized that I should always start with editing audio first, because the narration will serve as the framework for the video and also the pacing for all of the video contents. And then once I have that, the next logical step is to do a first pass of video edit, which is basically just dumping the relevant contents, clips, b-roll, etc. into my narration without worrying too much about the refined editing. And then of course the next step is to do a second pass, and this is where I will do the actual refined editing. And then after that, I will color grade the videos and then finish off with the text and graphics. So far this sequence have been working pretty well for me, in that I no longer find myself doing rework and my overall flow has been pretty smooth, so I will call this my standardized workflow. But if, for example, you find that there's still room for improvement, then that is ultimately why we have to adopt the 5th principle and mindset, Kaizen. So Kaizen is basically a Japanese term meaning constant improvement. It's about finding ways to make tiny changes here and there that will eventually transform your process into a very well-oiled machine in the long run. And remember that the emphasis is that tiny improvements done frequently far more outweighs larger transformations done all at once. So here's an example of a minor edit or improvement that I made in my Kanban. Originally, this box was for Instagram, meaning the final step is to post on Instagram. But then in actual practice, I realized I won't necessarily be posting to Instagram on the same day. And in fact, I should probably treat it as a separate task from video publishing, or else my projects will be stuck here for a while and create a bottleneck. So instead, I used whiteout and replaced it with video end cards instead, which is my actual final step in this workflow. So here's a quick overview of how I use my Kanban board. Whenever it's time for me to work on my videos, I would usually take a few video ideas from my brain dump page, which technically serves as my to-do column, and then I will move them along the different boxes by sequence as I work on the project. And I found that it really helped that I broke down my Kanban further into stages and then smaller steps, setting limits, etc., because it really set me up and almost forces me into a far more effective and efficient flow of work. And then once I'm done with the video, I will put the sticker in its final resting place, its final destination, which is my index, so that I can record which month I published which videos. So how can you use this system? So if you have any repetitive work that actually has a sequence of steps to do, then this system is actually great for that. So these are just some examples of projects that you can consider making a Kanban board for. And let's say you have more than one type of work or one type of repetitive work, you can totally have different Kanban boards for those different kinds of projects. That way, you can manage those projects in the most effective and efficient way possible according to the nature of that type of project. So I hope you find this video useful. Let me know in the comments if I should maybe make a series on videos purely dedicated to project management and lean principles, in case that is something that you're interested in. But thank you so much for watching. If you're enjoying my content so far, it means so much if you like and subscribe. And I will see you in the next video. Take care, everyone.